Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to take a look at a war video that I put together earlier in the season. This is with the Prowess power tactic. I didn't record my first two fights, but we're going to take a look at this Korg on node 22. Now this is really not a good counter because we do have the Prowess power tactic, which I just showed. By doing the heavy attack we get the armor, which is going to help remove the Prowess. But the thing is, this Korg is going to be purifying debuffs all over the place. So if I don't have that armor on me, it's going to be a little tricky to get rid of the power gain and the prowess and all that stuff. But Sunspot's damage is so good, and he's immune to incinerate, and we do have a Magneto House of X pre-fight that I figured I might be able to get the damage down here. So now I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have to take a special 3 there. And unfortunately we didn't have any debuffs on him, so the Inequity Mastery isn't going to save us. So this is just going to be rank 2 health pool is very high. Now we got to survive this in the corner. I decided to just throw the emergency special 3 button. Again, this is not a very pretty fight, but I've really been able to kind of stretch Sunspot's abilities this past season because he's just has so much damage, and the rank 2 health pool is pretty incredible as well. So now we're not necessarily in control, but we're just feeling a little bit better about being able to survive here. I take a little bit of a hit there. His rock shield is back. I'm pretty sure this is not a max sig thing, otherwise I think I would have died from some of the thorn damage that I took off of my mediums. But either way, this is just kind of a funny way to start my war because it was far from the prettiest fight out there. The only thing we had going for us is the Prowess power tactic, but certainly not as nice as some of those tech champions that have the permanent armor up. And then we had incinerate immunity, but not shock immunity. But yeah, node 22 Korg goes down. I think maybe future Ant-Man would have been a better counter there, but I think he was banned, and mine's on defense anyway. So Sunspot gets the job done, and then we move on to node 23. This is Rintrah here. I'm using Spidey 99 mostly because he's just a science champion, and the other thing that will help is his heavy attack is a single hit, which is sort of a counter to getting rooted, because when you get rooted, you know, you can re-parry technically, you'll see here, and that time I didn't take advantage of it. But if you re-parry and you heavy, your one hit heavy is definitely going to connect, which allows you to kind of push them back and survive the root. So that's just a little pro tip. If you have a champ with a one hit heavy, that is helpful for any kind of root situation. Now because he's running the willpower mastery, he's actually healing a good deal off of the debuffs that I'm putting on him. So our damage is pretty slow here. And also, you know, it is of note that buff immune champs are still punished by neutralize. In other words, it pretends that the dexterity is actually happening even though you don't have access to it, which means that all of his like neutralized abilities and the way that he would be gaining his mystical charges is still going to be in play here. The champions that get around that are Quicksilver and Silk. But for Spidey 99, he's still a really good counter here because Mystic Dispersion is not going to be a factor, and our damage is mostly physical damage. He doesn't really have physical resistance. He's just a very tanky champion. So we just have to be on top of these baiting of the specials. That special 2 can sometimes get a little iffy. There we are able to land a special 2 to push him back. Every time we knock him down, it removes some mystical charges too. That's something else to keep track of. And then just worrying about the bubble shield. I don't think we've been punished by that yet. We were keeping on track of the unblockables that happen every once in a while. Here we have to bait another special 2. You'll notice that power isn't really too much of an issue because of the power focus too. So once he gets to yellow bars, it's not really like he's getting red that fast, and he goes down, we don't take that much damage. So yeah, Spidey 99, he's a rank 5 science champion. I think any rank 5 science champion would be a good counter there. Silk would be better obviously, but Spidey 99 is plenty good. So now we finally have a perfect counter. This has power snack, so having one of the nullify immune techs is really good. It means that we're never going to have to deal with that. And then the other thing is we have access to Cowardice, which just turns off Kitty Pryde. And because we have Armor Burn tactic, it means that any little prowesses that she would be gaining, we are just immediately removing them. So there's no way for her to ramp at all between her kit and the Prowess power node. And my thing is, like, we have these power stings on us, so we're just not going to throw specials. The basic attacks are going to do plenty between, you know, just having very high base attack and class advantage and all that. And she doesn't have that much health anyway. So we're just baiting specials. We're keeping everything under control. And it's just death by basic hits. And that's the end of Kitty Pryde. So yeah, if you can ever fit Omega Sentinel and there is a mutant champ on that node on 25, Omega Sentinel is one of the best. She and Civil Warrior, they're the only nullify immune champs. So now this is a node that has given a lot of trouble to a lot of people over time, because when you have the protection from the ebb and flow on, and then this guy regenning and just being generally tanky, it's usually a problem. So when I was in SSX, I took this node a lot with Spot. And, you know, Spot is pretty much one of the perfect counters here that's not named Human Torch. So I wanted to try it with a less than ideal counter, meaning we don't really have healing control. Our burst damage is not going to be the same as Spot. And, you know, what it really comes down to is being comfortable fighting Absorbing Man in the ways that you are supposed to fight him on any vanilla node. And the key to that is very simple. It is just being able to punish his special attacks with a heavy attack. And if you do that, you are going to deactivate the form. Now it goes on a cooldown, so generally speaking, you want to try to alternate between Special 1 and Special 2. Like you can see there, we were not able to deactivate it because it was on cooldown. I'm just trying to land some intercepts because that's going to be the way I do some real damage. There it is able to be deactivated. We made our cooldown. So I've been having a little bit of trouble landing intercepts, so we get one there, so I'm going to throw the Special 3, which does a decent chunk of damage, and then it's going to stun him after. But yeah, the name of the game, anytime you fight Absorbing Man, whether they put him on the boss node or on one of these other annoying nodes, you just want to stay on top of those punishes of the heavy. It's something that feels a little different from every champ. Spidey 99 has a very long range, so I feel pretty confident dexing out of it and deactivating it. When he's in Uru form, it just means we're going to have a little bit of trouble doing damage because of all that physical resistance. So that one particularly we want to be deactivated. But we also want the magma form deactivated. If he ever refines, it's going to be a bad time. There I didn't feel too comfy with the heavy punish, so, and I also kind of felt like we could just get him down. Here we are able to deactivate again. When you deactivate it, it means he can't refine his forms, and it means he loses his resistances, and he's actually not that tanky of a champion without the regen and the resistances, if that makes sense. So at this point, we just need to land one more intercept, and he's being a little tricky here. You know, this fight is going to take like 3 minutes, so I'm not saying it's an easy fight, but if you're comfortable fighting Absorbing Man, there's a lot of champions that can work here, and it's really fun to prove that Spidey 99 can work. So there we go, we land our intercept, and I'm hoping that this Special 3 will kill him. If not, I will be able to in the combos right after due to the stun, because we are in our damage window. But fortunately that does enough. And yeah, Spidey 99 is a pretty good champ. So they put a second Kitty Pryde here, and you know, with Prowess power, this can be a little bit of a problem because anytime she dashes with the Mighty Charge node, it is going to pretend like it's purifying a debuff that isn't there, which means her prowess is actually going to increase. It's not really a bug, but it's just something to be aware of and something that's kind of cheesy in the game. But because we have armor burn, it just means throw the cowardice on, it turns off Kitty Pryde's prowess, and then we are going to, with every hit, just get rid of the prowess. I'm not even worrying about intercepting right now because I'm doing enough damage through the protection. Now we've got these plasmas on her. She does purify them, but again, we're not worrying about her kit at all between the cowardice and the armor burn tactic. So yeah, everything's totally fine here. In this meta, you know, Doom, if he's not banned, is another really good counter here, but pretty much any of these Prowess power champions with the armor burn tactic are pretty good against Kitty Pryde. So now this is the fight. This was another kind of stretch fight here. I wanted to see how this would work. Now, essentially the only thing that we're relying on here is Omega Sentinel's tankiness, because she does have the access to auto block and she's got the armors, and then the power burn. Like, we just want, as you're noticing, anytime he dashes, he gets a prowess. This is due to that same interaction I was mentioning with the Mighty Charge. You definitely want to place Prowess power on these nodes with Mighty Charge, by the way. If you're not, because of this interaction, it's not my favorite thing, especially when you're trying to bait specials. I mean, he's just gaining so much power, and when you can't hit him, it really kind of hurts you. So now we have to wait out this unstoppable, and I was getting a little bit worried here. I wanted to kind of prove that like any good tech with the armor burn tactic could take one of these difficult skills here. He's being so stingy with the specials, but now I think we're back under control. I'm going to throw this special again. Not super worried about the protection right now, because I would rather just survive the fight and keep the power control under check. So now we're kind of back in control, right? He's not dashing at us like a madman. We can hopefully bait this special one. There he goes. Now here's our chance to land an intercept if we get lucky enough. Does not play into it. So it's been a while since I've landed an intercept, and that's just going to be how it is, unfortunately. And, you know, I just don't want this fight to go on for too long, because Kingpin, you know, if he gets to a special 2 or something, again, I do not want to deal with that. So here we go. Can we land an intercept? Nope, because he does a light attack, so that does not count. But there we go. He runs right into us there, only to throw down his block too fast so that we do not connect our special. So we just lost a massive damage window, and the fight's been going on for 2 minutes. So I do feel in control here, but some stuff is going to need to happen for me to feel like this is going to be a totally safe finish. All right, so there he goes, throwing the special. We like to see that. I am mostly not ending my medium attacks because I don't want it to be purifying the cowardice and stuff like that. But, you know, occasionally we are going to try to throw them just to finish our combos. And right there, the auto block totally saved us. It parried him. He cleansed the parry. But yeah, that's another reason I like Omega Sentinel. It's kind of like Medusa. When she has the 10 armors, it's like a guaranteed auto block safety nets. So we were able to basically, we would have died if we didn't have the 10 armors. So the fight had been going on long enough that we easily built up to the 10, and then we drop our special 3. Those debuffs are going to go bye-bye, but that's fine. And now I'm like, you know what? We just have to kind of YOLO the end of this fight. I'm hoping that these basic attacks are enough. Of course they're not, so now we're in a little bit of trouble. I'm not quite sure what I want to do. I'm not sure if I have enough protection mitigation to get through this, but fortunately the basic hits cut through the protection and he goes down. So yeah, 3-minute fight, not the most fun fight. But yeah, armor burn's the way to go. If you have champs with armor burn when you're fighting Prowess power, you really should use them, because they can even take the skill nodes. We're seeing that. So anyway, the war season's almost over. I think this was like war 5 or 6 or something like that. VAC has been doing really well. We've only lost 2 wars, and one of the wars that we lost was because we got matched 2 tiers above us. We matched a tier 2 war, and we didn't place all our defenders because we were not expecting to have to fill out that map. Just another little malfunction of the new war system. I've overall been having fun in war. I've been watching my officers struggle a little bit with the ins and outs of being in a 2BG alliance. It's not the most fun system for them, but for me, having the extra time to do war, since we don't really assign, we just kind of go by the path. I can kind of join whenever I want. I don't hate that. It's kind of nice. The only weird thing is that people get a little confused when it's time to swap in and out of war, and when you're in a 2BG alliance, this is a little bit of a problem. I've talked about this before. I'm really hoping that the feedback has been heard by Kabam and we get some improvements to it. But that said, I'm still having a lot of fun in war. I will drop the occasional war video. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.